In the spring of 1945, as the world teetered on the edge of the Second World War's conclusion, an intriguing chapter unfolded at Camp Atterbury in Indiana. This military installation, established in 1942, was initially a bustling training ground for the U.S. Army. However, as the war progressed, it transformed into a detention center for captured enemy combatants from the European theater. By 1945, Camp Atterbury had become a temporary home for up to 3,000 German prisoners of war, POWs, creating an environment rich with complex dynamics and unforeseen intersections with civilian life. Camp Atterbury was not a mere assemblage of barracks and fences. It was a self-contained community equipped with essential facilities like mess halls, recreation areas, and infirmaries. Guarded by units under the U.S. Army Service Forces, the camp operated with a stringent schedule that prioritized both security and the productive employment of prisoner labor. This labor was not an incidental aspect of life at the camp. It was meticulously organized, as evidenced by War Department circulars and U.S. Army Provost Marshal General records, which provided detailed guidelines on the utilization of POWs. The German prisoners at Camp Atterbury were engaged in a variety of labor sectors. Chief among these were agriculture, canneries, and lumber mills. Through contracts facilitated by the War Manpower Commission, POW labor became a vital component of local economies, particularly in agriculture, where shortages of able-bodied workers due to the war effort had left gaps. Every day, the prisoners were transported to work sites, a process documented in exhaustive transportation logs designed to ensure compliance with the 1929 Geneva Convention. This convention mandated humane treatment and fair compensation for labor, principles that were upheld through a system of canteen coupons. These coupons functioned as wages, allowing prisoners to purchase necessities within the camp's confines. The logistics of food and sustenance at the camp were similarly subject to rigorous standards. POWs were integrated into the same rationing policies that affected the broader civilian population, ensuring equity and adherence to international standards. The Red Cross played an active role, conducting regular inspections to confirm that the quality and quantity of food met these standards. Meanwhile, the camp produced its own newspaper, serving as a crucial link to the outside world and fostering a semblance of normalcy amidst the prisoners' constrained lives. As the war drew to a close, the U.S. government faced the challenge of post-war repatriation and re-education of the POWs. Directives from the War Department outlined detailed procedures for returning them to Germany. The emphasis was on ideological dismantling, preparing them for reintegration into a society that was shedding the remnants of Nazi influence. This process was part of broader efforts to rehabilitate a devastated Europe, highlighting the complexities of transitioning from wartime to peacetime realities. Amidst these unfolding events, an intriguing intersection between war and academia occurred at a nearby university. German POWs, assigned to groundswork, occasionally found themselves within earshot of intense debates among university professors. These discussions centered around proposed changes to the academic curriculum, reflecting not only the immediate post-war reconstruction, but also the broader evolution of higher education. The juxtaposition of the POWs' experiences with the university's internal debates highlighted profound differences. While the POWs adhered to structured routines, the university faculty and students exercised autonomy in shaping educational policies. This autonomy was not merely an abstract ideal, it was a lived reality, manifesting in the freedom to explore, debate, and evolve without the constraints of wartime propaganda or external interference. Ultimately, the preserved records of these academic meetings reflect a commitment to intellectual independence that was crucial in the post-war environment. This environment fostered a space where ideas could flourish, illustrating a core tenet of the academic world, the freedom to question, innovate, and contribute to a rapidly changing society. For the German POWs at Camp Atterbury, their inadvertent proximity to this microcosm of American democratic processes offered a glimpse into a world where ideas, not ideologies, shaped the future. In this unique intersection of wartime realities and academic pursuits, the story of Camp Atterbury and the nearby university serves as a testament to the enduring power of intellectual freedom amidst the challenges of a world in transition. As history reflects on this period, it becomes clear that even in times of conflict, the pursuit of knowledge and the autonomy of thought remain vital forces for progress and reconciliation. In the late summer of 1945, the atmosphere at Camp Atterbury was one of muted anticipation, a blend of hope and uncertainty that seemed to hang in the very air the German POWs breathed. The war in Europe had concluded just a few months prior in May, a monumental event that signaled the end of years of brutal conflict. Yet, for these prisoners of war who had been captured and brought to the United States many miles from their homeland, the end of the war marked not an immediate return to freedom, but rather a continuation of their captivity, albeit with the promise of change on the horizon. Camp Atterbury, located in Indiana, was one of many such camps across the United States that housed German POWs. These camps adhered strictly to the principles of the Geneva Convention, providing the prisoners with the basic rights and treatment due to them under international law. Within the confines of the camp, the POWs found a semblance of normalcy amidst the uncertainties of their circumstances. The camp itself was a structured environment with daily routines that provided a rhythm to their lives, one that was comforting in its predictability. The POWs, many of whom were young men conscripted into service at the height of the war, found themselves engaged in a variety of labor tasks, both within the camp and in local industries. They rose early each morning, the chill of the early hours a reminder of the coming autumn, and assembled for roll call. The roll call was a ritual, a symbol of the order and discipline that governed their lives in captivity. Once counted, they dispersed to their assigned tasks, which ranged from agricultural work in the nearby fields to maintenance duties within the camp itself. These tasks, although a necessity of their imprisonment, offered the POWs a degree of mental reprieve. The constraints of their environment were strict, with rules that dictated nearly every aspect of their daily existence. But the predictability of these constraints allowed them to focus on the work at hand rather than the uncertainties of their futures. This work, in its own way, became a form of solace, a distraction from the broader tensions of the world beyond the camp's barbed wire fences. Meanwhile, just a short distance away, the nearby university was a hub of intellectual fervor and activity. The campus was alive with energy, a stark contrast to the regimented life at Camp Atterbury. Faculty and students were deeply engaged in discussions and debates, navigating the complexities of curriculum reform in a rapidly changing post-war world. The war had altered not only political and economic landscapes, but also the very fabric of education, prompting a re-evaluation of what and how students should learn in this new era. On campus, the air buzzed with the excitement of possibility and the promise of innovation. Professors and students alike were caught up in robust discussions about academic freedom, research opportunities, and the need to adapt courses to reflect contemporary scientific and cultural advancements. It was a time of transformation as educators sought to expand the horizons of knowledge and ensure that their institution remained at the forefront of scholarly and scientific discovery. One such occasion remains vivid in memory. A group of POWs was working near the university's main quadrangle, trimming hedges and tending to flower beds, when a heated exchange echoed from an open window. The topic at hand was the allocation of funds for the expansion of chemistry laboratories versus the development of new literature electives. The professors engaged in the debate were animated, their voices carrying the weight of conviction and the urgency of their academic missions. It was a debate that encapsulated the broader struggle of balancing scientific advancement with cultural and literary enrichment, a reflection of the university's commitment to a well-rounded education. The students, too, played significant roles in these debates. They attended meetings, drafted petitions, and lobbied for increased budgets to support research initiatives they argued would place the university at the forefront of scientific discovery. Their involvement was a testament to the shifting dynamics of post-war education, where the democratization of knowledge became an essential component of the academic experience. The students' enthusiasm and engagement were infectious, fueling the debates and ensuring that their voices were heard in the decision-making processes. The minutes from these meetings, meticulously archived, provide a detailed account of the deliberations that shaped the university's post-war trajectory. These documents, preserved for future generations, highlight the institution's commitment to academic autonomy and the belief that education could serve as a catalyst for societal progress. They stand as a testament to the enduring power of debate and the transformative potential of education. As the seasons changed and the days grew shorter, the atmosphere at Camp Atterbury shifted once more. Rumors began to circulate among the POWs about impending repatriation. The end of the European conflict had set in motion a complex process of negotiation and logistical planning to return them to a Germany that was itself undergoing profound transformation. For many of the POWs, the prospect of returning home was fraught with uncertainty. The political and economic landscape of post-war Germany was still in flux, and the path to reintegration was unclear. Despite these uncertainties, the POWs continued their daily routines, their lives punctuated by the distant echoes of academic discourse and the tangible realities of their labor. The university's debates, though removed from their immediate concerns, served as a reminder of the broader world that awaited them beyond the confines of the camp. They were part of a story that was larger than themselves, a story of rebuilding and renewal that was unfolding across the globe. The experiences of the POWs and the academic community during this period underscored the complex interplay between constraint and freedom, between the immediate demands of survival and the enduring pursuit of knowledge. As the POWs prepared for their eventual departure from Camp Atterbury, the legacy of this time, marked by resilience and the relentless quest for understanding, would linger, shaping their perspectives and informing their roles in a world striving for peace and reconciliation. The archival records from both the camp and the university offer a rich tapestry of insights into this pivotal moment in history. They capture the juxtaposition of lives constrained by the aftermath of war and those engaged in the pursuit of intellectual exploration. These documents stand as a testament to the enduring power of education and the human spirit's capacity to transcend even the most challenging circumstances. In the years that followed, the university continued to evolve, its curriculum reflecting the broader societal shifts that marked the post-war era. The debates of 1945, once contentious and divisive, became foundational to the institution's identity as a beacon of academic freedom and innovation. The impact of these discussions, preserved in the archives, would influence generations of scholars and students, reinforcing the university's commitment to fostering an environment where ideas could flourish unfettered by external constraints. Thus, the story of Camp Atterbury and the nearby university in 1945 is one of contrasts and connections, of lives intersecting amidst the broader currents of history. It is a narrative that speaks to the enduring themes of freedom and constraint, of knowledge and its transformative power, and of the human capacity to forge new paths in the aftermath of conflict. It is a story that continues to resonate, a reminder of the potential for growth and transformation that exists even in the most challenging of times. The nearby university, on the other hand, was a hub of intellectual activity and debate. The discussions among faculty and students concerning curriculum changes were not just academic exercises. They were driven by an acute awareness of the evolving demands of post-war society. There was a palpable sense of urgency to equip students with the skills and knowledge necessary to rebuild and innovate in a world that had been fundamentally altered by conflict. The chemistry department, for instance, advocated for the introduction of new laboratory courses that emphasized practical applications. This was not merely an academic shift, but an acknowledgement of the broader societal move towards industry-oriented education. As the world became increasingly reliant on scientific advancements, the university recognized the need to prepare students for careers in emerging fields such as pharmaceuticals, petrochemicals, and material science. Simultaneously, the literature department found itself embroiled in discussions about the inclusion of contemporary works in the curriculum. Professors passionately argued for the need to address modern themes that resonated with the experiences of a generation shaped by war. The inclusion of works by authors such as Ernest Hemingway, John Steinbeck, and George Orwell was debated with fervor, as these writers captured the zeitgeist of a world grappling with issues of existentialism, disillusionment, and the human condition. This debate was emblematic of the university's broader commitment to adapting its educational offerings to meet the demands of a rapidly changing world. The presence of German POWs at Camp Atterbury was a topic that occasionally surfaced in these academic discussions, reflecting the complex interplay between local and global dynamics. While the POWs were largely isolated from the university community, their presence served as a poignant reminder of the war's lingering impact. Professors and students alike grappled with the ethical and philosophical questions that arose from the juxtaposition of captivity and freedom. The sight of German POWs working in nearby fields or marching in formation evoked a range of emotions, from sympathy to resentment. The archival records of this period provide valuable insights into the intellectual climate of the time. Minutes from faculty meetings reveal a deep engagement with issues of academic freedom, reflecting a broader national conversation about the role of higher education in a democratic society. The emphasis on research and innovation was seen as vital to the nation's post-war recovery and future prosperity. There was a recognition that the university had a responsibility to contribute to the rebuilding of society, not only through education, but also through its research endeavors. The German POWs, meanwhile, continued to fulfill their roles within the camp and the surrounding community. Their labor contributed to local agricultural and industrial efforts, providing essential support during a time of resource scarcity. They worked in fields, on construction projects, and in factories, often side by side with American civilians. Despite the constraints of their situation, the POWs maintained a sense of resilience, adapting to their circumstances with a degree of pragmatism. For many, the work provided a semblance of normalcy and an opportunity to learn new skills that might prove useful upon their return to Germany. As the year drew to a close, the prospect of repatriation loomed large for the POWs. Rumors circulated within the camp, fueled by news of negotiations and international agreements. The prospect of returning to a Germany in the throes of reconstruction was both daunting and hopeful, embodying the complexities of post-war transitions. The POWs faced the uncertainty of reintegration into a society fundamentally altered by the war, a reality that mirrored the broader challenges faced by nations around the world. For some, the thought of returning to their families and homeland brought joy. while for others it was tinged with anxiety about what awaited them in a country that had been decimated by conflict. The university's archives from this period capture the essence of an institution in flux, grappling with the challenges of adapting to a new era while maintaining its core educational mission. The debates and discussions documented in these records highlight the enduring importance of academic freedom and intellectual exploration. They reflect a commitment to fostering an environment where ideas could flourish even amidst the constraints imposed by external circumstances. The university saw itself as a microcosm of the larger societal transformation, striving to balance tradition with progress. The story of Camp Atterbury and the nearby university in 1945 is a testament to the resilience of individuals and institutions in the face of adversity. It underscores the transformative power of education and intellectual freedom, highlighting the enduring potential for growth and renewal in even the most challenging of circumstances. As the world moved forward from the shadows of war, the lessons learned from this period continued to resonate, shaping the future in profound and lasting ways. The legacy of this time was not just in the tangible rebuilding efforts, but also in the renewed commitment to ideals of freedom, democracy, and the pursuit of knowledge. In the spring of 1945, as the sun began to stretch its rays further each day, casting longer shadows over the sprawling expanse of Camp Atterbury, the rhythm of life within its confines was dictated by a profound sense of anticipation and a strict adherence to routine. The camp, located in the heart of Indiana, was a temporary home to thousands of German prisoners of war, POWs, who found themselves embroiled in the daily schedules imposed upon them. These men, far from their homeland, had their activities largely dictated by the demands of local agriculture and infrastructure, which were vital to the war effort and the community's sustenance.